Let's explore what actually happens the moment the needle hits. Let's start at the very beginning, and I mean the exact moment. The needle hits your skin. Not once. Between 50 and 3,000 times per minute. 50 to 3,000. Per minute, every single penetration is your body registering one thing and one thing only: attack. Your immune system does not distinguish between a tattoo needle and a knife. It doesn't know you paid $300 for this. It doesn't care that it's meaningful. It sees a breach in your body's largest organ, and it responds with everything it has. Specialized cells, called macrophages, flood the area. Their one job, the only job they've ever had, is to find foreign invaders and destroy them. And when they find the tattoo ink sitting in your dermis, they eat it. Here's where this gets genuinely fascinating. The ink particles. They're too large. The macrophages can't fully process them. So instead of destroying the ink and moving on, they hold on to it. They become, essentially, living ink-filled prison cells. Permanently stationed in your skin, unable to leave, unable to let go. That is why your tattoo is permanent. Not because the ink bonds to your skin. Not because it fuses with your cells. Because your immune system is actively, right now, trying and failing to remove it. Your tattoo isn't just art. It is a 24/7 immune response that has never once stopped since the day you got it. But here's the part that no one at the tattoo parlor is going to tell you. Researchers at Aarhus University in Denmark decided to look somewhere most people would never think to look. Not at the skin. At the lymph nodes, these are organs located nowhere near your tattoo. They're part of your immune filtering system, deep inside your body. And when they examined the lymph nodes of tattooed people, they found tattoo ink inside them. The ink is traveling through your body. It migrates from your dermis into your lymphatic system. Some particles are nanoscale, small enough to slip through cellular barriers and accumulate in organs. Researchers found traces of titanium dioxide, a pigment used in white and light-colored inks, sitting in lymph nodes decades after the tattoo was applied. Decades. Now, what does that mean for your health long-term? That's exactly what we're going to cover. And the answer splits into two directions you probably haven't considered. One of them is going to surprise you in a good way. The other, well, you need to hear it. What tattoos are actually doing to you. Before we go any further, I need you to hold two things in your mind at once, because the health science on tattoos is not one story. It's two running in opposite directions simultaneously. Let's start with the one that almost nobody talks about. The positive. Your immune system goes to the gym. A study published in the American Journal of Human Biology found something that sounds almost impossible. People with multiple tattoos had measurably stronger immune responses than first-timers, and significantly stronger than people with no tattoos at all. Here's the mechanism. Every time you get a tattoo, your body fires up its immune defenses, cortisol spikes, macrophages mobilize, inflammatory responses kick in. But here's what's remarkable. Cortisol is your stress hormone, and cortisol suppresses immune function. Every time it spikes, your immune system takes a hit. What researchers found was that people with multiple tattoos showed dramatically lower cortisol spikes during the process than first-timers. Their bodies had adapted, they become more efficient, more practiced at mounting a controlled, proportionate immune response. Think of it this way. The first tattoo is your immune system's first day at the gym. Exhausted, overwhelmed, barely keeping up. The fifth tattoo. It's running a marathon without breaking a sweat. Now, I'm not telling you to get a tattoo to boost your immune system. That would be absurd. What I am telling you is that the outdated idea that tattoos simply damage the body, science has moved on from that. The body adapts, and in some measurable ways, it comes out stronger. The psychological dimension, here's something even less discussed. Multiple studies examining the psychological effects of tattoos found that people who get meaningful, deliberate tattoos report significantly higher self-esteem and body image afterward. The journal Body Image documented participants describing heightened feelings of physical attractiveness and personal uniqueness post. But here's the deeper layer. Psychologists have a term for what tattoos do for people who've experienced trauma, illness, or profound loss. Somatic storytelling. Writing your story onto your body. Cancer survivors tattooing over mastectomy scars. Abuse survivors reclaiming their skin through deliberate, chosen marks. Veterans who carry something permanent that no one can see except them and the people they choose to show. The psychological power of that is not trivial, and it's not anecdotal. It's documented, but I told you there were two directions. And we have to talk about the other one. The risks. What the industry doesn't tell you. I'm going to be direct here, because some of what follows deserves your genuine attention. Tattoo ink is not regulated the same way pharmaceuticals are. In the United States, the formulations are loosely controlled, and some inks contain compounds that can trigger serious delayed hypersensitivity reactions. Red ink is the most documented offender. It often contains mercury sulfide, or azo compounds. And here's what makes this genuinely unsettling. These reactions can appear years after the tattoo was applied, with no warning, no prior symptoms. You're sitting there perfectly fine, and then suddenly your 2-year-old tattoo is inflamed, raised, itching. Not because of anything that happened recently, because your immune system finally recognized something it decided it didn't like. MRI complications. Most people have never heard this one. Certain tattoo pigments, particularly those containing metallic compounds, can react during MRI scans. Patients have reported burning and stinging sensations at tattoo sites during the procedure. In some cases, the interference affects image quality. If you have tattoos and you ever need an MRI, and statistically, at some point most of you will, you need to tell your radiologist, not as a suggestion, as a requirement. The cancer detection problem, this one is subtle, and it matters. Tattoos placed on or near moles can make it significantly harder for a dermatologist to detect early-stage melanoma. Ink can obscure the visual changes in skin that doctors are trained to catch early. There are documented cases where skin cancer was diagnosed late, not because the warning signs weren't there, but because the tattoo hid them. Tattoos do not cause skin cancer. Let me be absolutely clear about that. But where you put a tattoo matters more than you've ever been told. The sweat discovery, the finding that will change how athletes think about tattoos. Okay? I need you to pay attention to this next part, because this is the one most people have never heard, and if you exercise, it affects you directly. Your skin sweats, you know this. But tattooed skin, it sweats differently. A study published in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology measured sweat output on tattooed versus untattooed skin. Same person, different areas, and found a striking difference. Tattooed skin produced significantly less sweat, and the sweat it did produce had a higher sodium concentration. Here's why that matters. Sweat isn't just about being wet. Sweating is how your body regulates temperature. It's your built-in cooling system. And tattooed skin, particularly heavily tattooed skin, is measurably less effective at that job. For the average person sitting at a desk, negligible. But for an athlete, a marathon runner, a cyclist, a professional who performs under physical stress, large tattoo coverage across the torso, arms, or legs could create a real, documented disadvantage in heat dissipation. And here's the part no one recovers from. The tattoo process causes permanent damage to some sweat glands in the affected area. The repeated needle penetrations can destroy gland structures that do not regenerate permanently. Your tattoo artist is never going to mention that. And why would they? They're an artist, not an endocrinologist. But you should know, the social dimension, the world changed. But not all the way. Let's step outside the body for a moment, because there's a parallel story happening in society, and it's moving fast. 20 years ago, a visible tattoo in a professional setting wasn't just unusual. It was, in many cases, quietly corrupt. Nobody would say it out loud. Nobody would write it in a job offer decline. But the research and the lived experience of millions of people made it clear. Visible ink cost you opportunities. That has changed. Significantly, a 2019 University of Miami study found no significant difference in earning potential between tattooed and non-tattooed workers across most industries, in creative fields, hospitality, tech, and the arts. Tattoos have become so normalized, they've effectively become invisible. But here's where I want to be honest with you. The shift is real. It is not complete. A 2022 study found that job applicants with visible face or neck tattoos were still rated as less competent and less hireable by evaluators in formal professional environments, regardless of their actual qualifications. Regardless of qualifications. That is bias. It is documented bias, and pretending it doesn't exist doesn't help anyone. So the honest picture is this. Placement still matters. A forearm sleeve and a throat tattoo are not the same social signal, even in 2026. Context still dictates perception, and context is not going away overnight. But here's the fascinating flip side. Evolutionary psychologists have studied tattoos as what they call costly signals, public demonstrations of a willingness to endure pain and commit to something permanent. And within specific social contexts, military communities, athletic cultures, tight-knit subcultures, visible tattoos don't just avoid stigma, they function as credentials. Proof of toughness, proof of belonging, proof of commitment. The same mark that costs you a law firm interview earns you something far more valuable in other rooms. That's not contradiction. That's just how complex human signaling actually works.
The body's reversal. What happens when you try to undo it? Here. As something worth knowing, even if you've never considered removal. About 11% of tattooed people have attempted to remove a tattoo. And laser removal is not the clean, simple process those before and after ads suggest. Remember those macrophages from the beginning? The ones holding your ink like living prison cells? Laser removal is essentially giving them the key. Concentrated light pulses shatter the ink particles into fragments small enough for macrophages to finally carry away through the lymphatic system. In other words, laser removal finishes the job your immune system has been trying to do since day one. But here's what the clinics don't emphasize. When those ink particles are shattered and released, they travel through your lymphatic system again. In concentrated waves, the same migration that happened during the original tattoo now happens in reverse faster and in larger doses. The long-term impact of that is something researchers are still actively studying. And laser removal causes its own tissue damage, scarring, pigment changes, textural differences in the skin. The clean removal in the advertisements is typically the best case result after 10 to 20 sessions over several years. And even then, heavily pigmented areas often leave a ghost image behind. I'm not saying don't do it. Sometimes removal is exactly the right decision. I'm saying know what you're actually doing to your body when you do. Because most people walk in thinking it's the reverse of getting a tattoo. It isn't. It's a different biological event entirely. The real bottom line. What you now know that most people don't. Here's where we land. Tattoos are not a cosmetic decision. Not really. They are a biological event, one that triggers a permanent immune response that will never end for as long as you live. They are an immunological commitment, one that puts ink inside your lymph nodes, changes how your skin sweats, and alters your body in ways that have nothing to do with how it looks. They are a psychological statement, one that can rebuild self-image, process trauma, and signal belonging in ways that are scientifically documented and deeply human. And they are a social signal, one that the world is still figuring out how to read, and that reads differently depending on where you are, who's looking, and where on your body it sits. For most healthy adults, tattoos are relatively safe. The immune response, while permanent, is generally managed. The real risks are real, but they're largely preventable by choosing reputable studios, quality ink, and thinking carefully about placement. But here's the thing I keep coming back to. You are walking around with ink inside your lymph nodes right now. Your immune system has not rested once since the moment that needle hit your skin. Your sweat glands in that area will never fully recover. And all of that, every single piece of it, is happening without a single sensation, without a symptom, without a warning. Tattoos are permanent not just on the surface. They are permanent inside you. That is not a reason not to get one. but it is absolutely, without question, a reason to know. If something in this video genuinely surprised you, drop it in the comments. Specifically, what got you? Was it the lymph nodes? The sweat glands? The immune response that never stops? I read every single comment on videos like this one, and your answer actually shapes what we cover next. And speaking of next, if this opens something for you, the next video goes even deeper into what modern science is revealing about body modification, biological adaptation, and what your choices do to your body at the cellular level. It's already up. It's waiting for you. Subscribe if you want the stuff mainstream health channels won't touch. And I'll see you in the next one.